Yeah, hey guys, so here we are finally after all the preparatory work with all the German movement, turn one German movement. We're finally able to do the first of five attacks. That's right, I've set up five attacks for the Germans. This is going to be the first of five. And what you're looking at right here is element of the 21st Panzer. We have the recon battalion on the right there, which does have an armored component to it. You see the one in the gray box, so that's an armored component. And then over there we got a mechanized unit, which is a +1 TQ. But actually, both of those units are +1. So, and they're attacking, obviously, that Brit Para right there. Now, what's notable about the Brit Para is actually all three units involved in this combat right here are +1. Their TQs are +1. That's somewhat unusual to see that all combatants are the same thing, but mainly +1. That's unusual. And you'll notice that the Brit is on mixed terrain. What does mixed terrain mean? Well, his DRM is going to be a +2. Now, that's assuming that his defensive value is 2 or better. And he does. His attack and his attack defense strength is a 2. So he does pick up a +2 DRM, which makes him a 4. You can see the total of the German units is 9. So let me run this down on that. Break it down what I have for the total the attack value. What this is going to come down to. So it's 9. This, by the way, this is Hex 2032. The Defender's on Hex 2032. So it's 9 to 4. That's 2 to 1. And yeah, the Germans have a value of 9, and the Defender is 2 plus 2 is 4. So that's 2 to 1. Being on mixed terrain. Now, I've noted that the TQ for the same is not an advantage for either party. And then you do have an armored component from the 316, so they get the armor bumps them up to 3 to 1. And then, as I talked about, you have intrinsic con-based artillery. Now, having said that, that takes it up to 4 to 1. If you look at this hex right here, let me get in the picture right here. This hex right here, that's con right there, and it's 2 hexes away. So if it's within 3 hexes away, you can get con-based artillery. Now, what I need to tell you about that's going to take away one of the supply points that the Germans have. They had 2 points, and they gave them both to the 7th Army. So I'm going to take one of those away and knock them down to 1 supply point. Okay, so this total attack is a 4 to 1. Do I have a box or something to roll on? Shit, I'd really like to roll on a box. Hold on, let's do this. Let me get the box off this game. I couldn't get it off earlier in like one of the early videos. Come on. All right, there we go. All right, I want to roll into this box right here. So we have a 4 to 1. By the way, of the 5 attacks that I'm doing right here, that is the best odds that the Germans could get in either attack, either one of the 5 attacks. So let's go ahead and roll, and here we are. Again, 4 to 1. Here comes the roll. It's a 2 on 4 to 1, which is a DR. DR. The defender must either retreat or conduct a determined defense. If the defender retreats, they become disrupted. The attacker may advance after combat if the defender retreats. That's very interesting because there's a little rule I'm going to take advantage of for the defender here. Now, let's see how long it takes me to find it. Actually, this shouldn't take long. Oh, Yeah, 13.3. He's going to take advantage of Rule 13.3, which says a 2-hex retreat can end only after only 1 hex if it is retreat if the retreating unit or stack retreats to a city, town, or woods. See that? They got woods right there to retreat. So their 2-hex retreat is going to become 1. Yeah. Yeah, so that's what they're going to go ahead and do. So it's defender retreats. They're not going to do a determined defense. He's going to become disrupted. So let's go ahead and move him out. That's his 1-hex retreat right here. And let's get a disruption for him. He's going to be disrupted. But considering a 4-to-1 retreat did not yield like a D1, it was a DR, right? Yeah, just a retreat. So here's their disruption. That's not bad for the Allies, considering that 4-to-1 was the best odds the German can muster in any of the 5 attacks. This is how now. Let's talk about retreats right here. So, I mean, advance after combat. So the the units that are advancing are not obligated to move into the defender's hex, okay? And they can advance. Let's just take a quick look at that. Advance, a length of advance. When allowed to advance by the crit, units may advance up to 2 hexes. Units may advance in any direction are not required to enter the defender's vacated hex. All units that participated in the combat may advance, not just the units in the maps. Okay? Beautiful. So what's going to happen here is this guy, he's going to go right here. Okay, that's his advance right there, just 1 hex. And this dude's going to advance right here. They're going to try to choke the life out of these Brit paras if they can. So that's a simple attack. That's their first attack, just east of Caen, and pretty good results if you're the Brits, because it was 4-to-1 and they don't even lose a step. All right, I'm John. On to the next attack. Okay, here we are with attack 2. You see on hex 2428, there's looks like, is that a Canadian 6-4 sitting in mixed terrain? So what we have right now is, so he's a 6. You add the 2 for the mixed, he's going to be an 8. And let me see what my thing says here. He's being attacked by those 2 German units of the 21st Panzer Division. And so keep in mind that the Canadian unit he's an 8. 6 plus 2 is 8. Now the 21st Panzer, the 6.5 that is behind attacking across a water obstacle, he's attacking at half, so he's a 3. And then the 335, I don't know if that's a martyr or whatever the hell it is. It is an armored unit. Notice the 3 in the gray. Yeah, so that he does have armor. So here's what you have. You basically have 6 attacking 8. So that is a 1-2 right there. And then notice how the Canadian unit has a 0 for its TQ, while the Germans have, one of the units has a +1. So they get a TQ that takes it up to 1-1. And the armor component brings it up to 2-1. So that's the attack right there. They're out of range of Caen-based artillery. Otherwise, I would have used it. But I guess I don't want to squander my last supply point if I can help it. So either way, this is going to be a very modest 2-1 attack. Here you go, again, on hex 2428. Oh, they get a 2. That's not good. 2 on 2-1 is going to be an A1DR. Yeah, I was afraid of that. So I rolled 2 and a 2 on both of these attacks. So this is an A1DR. And what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to flip that 6.5. You just have to. And then I'm going to figure out what I want to do with the Canadian unit. So this guy flips down to a 4-5. He's technically infantry when it comes to replacements. So he's a 4-5. And then the DR for the Brits, he's got a problem, and here's his problem. Actually, he can stack. He can stack. Let me look at the status of one of these units. I want to look at this unit right here. If he retreats. Okay, so that's a full unit. Remember we were talking about 1 hex retreats? Let's talk about this. 1 hex retreat, a 2 hex retreat, wait a minute, can end after only 1 hex if it's retreating. If the retreating unit or stack retreats to a city, town, woods, or bocage hex, or a hex that contains a strong point or improved position. A hex that contains non-disrupted friendly units not using strat movement can also stop a 2 hex retreat after 1 hex, but the number of combat factors they may stop is limited to the number of non-disrupted combat factors in the hex. Let me read that last sentence again. But the number of combat factors they may stop is limited to the number of non-disrupted combat factors in the hex. Damn, I don't even know if I understand that. Okay, wait a minute. A hex that contains a non-disrupted friendly units, which there is a 6-4 in there, not using strat movement can also stop a 2 hex retreat, but the number of combat factors they may stop is limited to the number of non-disrupted combat factors in the hex. So, my understanding is that they can stop this 6-4 after 1 hex if there's also 6 factors of non-disrupted existing in the hex that they're moving into. And that just so happens to be the case. As I showed this earlier, this guy has a 6-4 underneath him. So this dude is going to take the 1 hex retreat, and he's going to take the disruption, and we're going to call it a day right there. So they're right there, and then we put our DD tank back on, and that unit is disrupted. Are the Germans going to advance? Can they advance after an A1DR? But I'm going to tell you they're not going to do it, but let's find out if they can. A1, well, it's on right on the card. A1DR. The attacker loses 1 step from his map. The defender must either retreat or conduct a determined defense. They may become, they become disrupted. The attacker may advance if the defender retreats. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, the attacker is definitely not going to advance after combat. That's for sure. That is for sure. Yeah, they're not going to advance. They're going to stay right there. And I'm going to reread this rule to make sure that guy could have went back 1 hex. Because if he couldn't have just retreated 1 hex, he would have had to do a determined defense. Because all these other hexes next to him are stacked to the limit. That was the only place he could go. So I think that I've interpreted that rule correctly. I'm going to read it again. But we're going to stop right here and move on to the other attacks. Okay, so we move on to 2 attacks. I have both of them in the picture right here. And actually, let me just write some stuff down. I got to write 2 results down from the first 2 attacks. I don't know why I didn't do it already. A1DR, that's for the last one. All right, attack number 3. Let's frame this attack. This will be hex number 2720. These guys right here, first, Big Red 1, 1st Infantry Division, those guys right there on Easy Fox, right there, they're being attacked by these two units of the 12th Panzer, 12th SS that have moved in. So it's these two right here. Okay, so I already wrote everything down here, and this is what you're dealing with right here. Attack number 3. It's 14-9. The 5, the SS 12th SS 5 has a 9 underneath it. That's 14, and the Americans add up to 7. But we're gonna say that they're on. Are we gonna say that they're on mixed terrain? I think we have to, because there's no such thing as beach terrain in here, is there? Is there beach terrain? No. All right, they're on mixed, which gives them 9, so it's 1-1. Then it's armor, 2-1. Now, very interesting, you see the German Panzer Battalion has a 4 in gray, where the American has a 3. If they both had 3s or they both had 4s, the Germans would not get the +1 armor chipped. And then also the 9, which is underneath that 5, it's a +1 TQ. So what you're looking at is 1-1, 2-1 for the armor, 3-1 for TQ. There's no artillery whatsoever in here, and American naval bombardment. By the way, Allied. Let me say this: Allied naval bombardment can be a factor in determined defense. Okay, anyone who's not clear on that, determined defense. So let's go ahead and make this roll on this 3-1. This is actually huge right here. This is huge. We may have a determined defense coming up. Otherwise, they're going back into the ocean. Here we go. Let's see what the roll is on 3-1. Let's see if the Germans can get higher than a 2. They get another 2 on 3-1. That's disappointing, and I'm not using some stupid ass Vassal die roller. I'm legitimately rolling into a box, and it's 3 straight 2s. All right. So, anyways, 3-1, a die roll of 2 yields an exchange. Let's see what that's about. All right. That each side loses 1 step. The unit that takes the step loss is determined by. The unit that takes the step loss, well, they both take it, is determined by the opposing player. However, the defender must select a unit from the attacker's nav. Interesting. Okay, let me read it again. Each side takes one step. The unit that takes the step loss is determined by the opposing. I mean, this just favors the Allies because they're going to get tossed into the ocean anyway, so let's go ahead and do it. I'm going to spread these guys out right here, and the Germans get to decide who the hell that they're going to knock out, and I wonder if I should take that cadre. Geez, no, I think you should make that. I think you should make that 4-4 a cadre. That's what I think you should do. So what that entails is I have to find more cadres, and I have the box open. They're right here. Let's go to C, and I just got to round this real quick. You think I would have took care of this after the last time I had this problem? Let me just go ahead and round this real quick. And that 4-4 that you see in your picture, we're going to take a step and knock him down to a cadre. Or is that the right move? The right move may be to knock that cadre out and just go ahead and kill that. You know what? I think that, on second thought, that may be the way to go. That may be the way to go. I'm going to go ahead and take that cadre so it can never be rebuilt. There you go. Let's take it out. I just took it out. So what that means is the Big Red 1, the 16th Regiment of the Big Red 1 is totally destroyed forever. And I hate to say it, but that's how would it be like. Now, what are the Americans going to? Because the Germans are going to suffer a more significant loss here. I think the Germans now, two good units, man. Who are they going to take out? Who are the Americans going to take out? That 9.5. The thing about that 9.5 is that mechanized infantry can be rebuilt with an infantry. I think they want to knock this 5.4 because it's harder to rebuild armor. I think that's what they're going to do. I think that's the smart play right here. They're going to knock that down, right? And because, like I said, it's harder to rebuild armor. So let me go ahead and read some more about this. Exchange. Each side loses one step. The unit that takes a step is determined by the opposing player. However, the defender must select from the MAV, which they did. No retreat. If the defender had only one step, then the attacker, blah, 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 would qualify for an advance if we killed the last of them. Considering the situation that's going on right here, that you got to say that was a win for the Allies. And in the first three German attacks, one of which was a 3-1, one of which was a 4-1. They rolled deuces in all three of them. That's pretty good for the Americans. Now we're in the same picture. We're going to do the next attack. That's these guys, 29th Division, which are in better shape than the Big Red One was, but they're being attacked by these guys, 12th SS, and this crew right here. Let me just write the result from the previous attack in my notes. Okay, so number 4, what do we have for that? Well, what we have right here under this 5, notice he's a 5.35, so that's no armor shift. Underneath him is a 10. Much like they had a 9 over here, that's a 10 right underneath here. And this guy's only underneath here is like a regular 352 infantry division. He's a 2. And because he's not part of the MAV, he only contributes 1 point. So that stack that's sitting there actually contributes 1 point. So you have a 10 and a 5 is 15 plus 1 is 16. This is attack number 4. 16 going against 15. The Americans have 15 in here. They have a 3, they have a 4, and a 6, which is plus they're on mixed terrain, which gives them 15. So it's a 1-to-1. It's a 1-to-1 for 1-to-1 for ratio, and then the Germans have a TQ of +1. The unit that is sitting underneath this 5.35 is a +1. So it is a 2-to-1. Here we go. Now, I rolled 3 straight 2s. Let's see if we can do better on a 2-to-1. Okay, so it's a 2-to-1. We get a 4. That is a DR. Straight up DR, and we may have a determined defense and a desperate defense. This ain't good for the Americans. DR. The defender must either retreat or conduct a determined defense. I think I know what they're going to do. If the defender retreats, they become disrupted. The attacker may advance. Blah 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 blah. Blah. Okay, well we're going into we're going to go into our first determined defense because they rolled a 4 on 2-to-1. Let's go look at it. I don't want to screw anything up here, so this may take some time. Determined defense. The defender may attempt to cancel blah 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 blah. Okay. What was the thing? It was DR. Let me write that down as the result, the initial result. DR, DD. Okay. So we're going to go with, so they're going with the determined defense. Now, where is it over here? So let's go with die roll modifiers because I think we're going to have a die roll modifier. Restrictions. The following units may not be the lead unit in a determined defense. HQ. Oh, so who's going to be the lead unit? The terrain, unless a hex contains an improved position, strong point. Use other column for woods, bocage, and mix. So it's going to be other. Yeah, all right. And also, okay, so lead units TQ, these are die roll modifiers we're talking about. The die roll modifiers, the lead units TQ, well, they're a 0. Armor rating comparison, it's a wash. It's 3 to 3. Defensive support. Now, here's where it gets, I think we can get defensive support, naval defensive support, 12.43. Let me just check this out real quick. 12.43 defensive support, blah, 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 naval. The allied player has 2 sources of defensive support. No artillery from HQs, because no HQs have landed. Naval units, and the German player has 2 sources, artillery and Werfer. Neither one are applicable here. Okay, so they're gonna get, if using a naval unit, the unit must be flipped over. Okay, are they within the naval bombardment zone? Yes, they are. So, let's look at the card. I'm going to flip one of the naval bombardment, and we'll call it, from the Americans, we'll call it the USS Texas, is putting naval fire on those, the Germans. Of course, I can't even flip a simple counter over when I'm live. All right, so that's a +1. That's all they get. So they're on other. We know that. Who's going to be the lead unit for it? It's going to be the 6 that's underneath there. It's going to be the 6. That's the lead unit. Let's see what we got here. Wait a minute. Lead units TQ or armor rating. So they're going to get +1 for defensive from the USS Texas, but lead units TQ or armor rating ±. So that leads me to believe if your TQ is less than the attacker, which in this case it is, it's going to be negative, because on this card it says plus, slash, or minus. So not only plus, but also minus can be a DRM. So I think the naval fire and the fact that they're a 0 compared to the Germans +1 in the TQ department leads me to believe that those two cancel each other out, and we're going to have a straight roll. This could be devastating for the Americans, because if they don't get something good here, they're going to have to go to, after determined defense is desperate defense, and that kills off 2 steps. Let's do it. They want to roll high. They want to roll high. American roll. Here you go. What do they roll? It's a 5, and they may cancel this retreat. Hold up. On other, +5. So 5 is, they lose a step, but the retreat is canceled. Wow. All right, let me see what they lose here. What unit has to go bye-bye, or who's going to take the hit. I think it may be from the lead unit, right? That makes sense. Explanation of results. The defender's lead unit loses 1 step, but the retreat is canceled. That's huge. Huge. All right, so let's pull this guy off. Here's your DD tank, that's intact. And then this guy right here, he wants to stay alive. So this 116th of the 29th Division, that may be the old Stonewall guys from Virginia. They're going to take a hit, but they stay on the beach. They stay on the beach. Both units stay on the beach. Damn. All right. Oh, I've made a mistake. I think I've made a mistake. I think I have made a mistake. You know what? On that last one right here, this last attack right here, where I killed the cadre, I don't believe that's allowed. I think you are obligated. I just popped into my head. I think you're obligated to take this guy down. I think he has to go down, and a second cadre has to be introduced. That's what I think I'm almost sure that's the case. So let me put So there's two cadres right here and the DD tank. Yeah, that just popped in my head right now. So we have one attack to go, and it's probably going to be the worst attack for the Germans based on attack odds. Let's get to it. One moment. Okay, guys, so we're going to the -1 retreat canceled. Retreat canceled. All right, I'm just writing down the results of the previous attack. Okay, so you know how I said that they have to do 5 attacks or they're going to give up victory points? Okay, well, what I got going on right here is attack number 5. The attack that I don't want to make this attack, but I don't want to give up victory points, so this is the way it's going to go down. Here's what you have. This guy right here, scattered unit of the 82nd, he's a scattered. He's a 4 underneath that. This unit right here is a 2. He took 2 hits and he's now a cadre. But realistically, let's think about this. The Germans on the first day, June 6th, whatever the hell it is, they don't know the status of, all they know there's American landings in the area. They don't know which unit's scattered. They don't know which unit is damaged. All they know is they're going to get in there and attack the outermost unit. And that would happen to be these guys who are a 4. All right. So they're being attacked primarily by the 91st Division. By the way, this tank was down here, but the way he moved in, he was obligated to stop at this hex because of zone of control from the scattered. Indeed, scattered units do project a zone of control. So this 4 right here is attacking across a Minor River hex side. He's half, that's 2. This guy's a 2. And underneath here we have a 4 plus 2 armored. So what does that total out to be? 2 is 4, plus 4 is 8. And the armored component leads, it's a 10. And so what we have on, we basically on attack 5, we have 10 to 7. And again, the American unit is a 4, but he's in bocage, which the DCB on that nets a +3. So he's a 7. Hey, man, it's all about the bocage, right? That 4 turns into a 7, so that it's a 10 to 7, 1 to 1. Armored. Yeah, that little cheesy little German unit that's using old French tanks. He's got 2 in there, and that's an armored DCB. So it takes him to 2 to 1. But here's the problem. The 4-3, the scattered 4-3 is a +1. The German units are 0. So that knocks it back down to 1-1. So this is the attack that I did not want to make. I know it's going to be bad unless I roll really high. It's a 1-1 attack, but hey, it keeps me from just giving the Allies victory points. All right, so here is your attack 1-1. Let's do this. I'm going to hold my nose and throw this die. They get a 3. That can't be good. So that's an A1DR. Wow. All right, so let's do the A1. Let's see what it says. Let me write down A1DR first. A1DR on attack 5. Pretty much what I expected. DR, A1DR. Okay, so who's going to take the hit, kid? I say it's probably going to be this 4-3 that's under the armor right here. Don't hit the camera, John. The camera's going to shake. Okay, so this guy, he's going to take a hit. He's going to go to 2 in that little town. And the armor unit stays on top. Now, when you attack a scatter, they defend normally, okay? So, now he's got a defender retreat on him. Does he want to do a determined defense? Do you want to do a determined defense or retreat? He does not really want to retreat. He really doesn't want to do a determined defense. Or should he just retreat? I think these airborne chaps are going to try to hold that position. So let's do it, because where would they retreat to? Yeah, back towards that Ost. He could do that. He could do that. You know what? I think for the purposes, let me check out retreating. I think you can't retreat across minor rivers if you're mechanized. I don't think they have a problem with this. So you know what? These guys are just going to retreat. They're just going to retreat. No big deal. Let's do the damn retreat. Okay, so from here they're going to go down here, and then over one. Over to one. But wait a minute. Can you retreat into a zone of control? I think you can. Hold on a second. I want to be accurate about this. Retreating into a zone of control, it's not optimal, blah, 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 blah. Combat results. Or they could have done a determined defense. I really don't want to do that. Retreat procedures, blah, blah, blah. 2 hexes. I get that. What about terrain? Oh, wait a minute. 1 hex terrain in the Bocage. You can do that. It does say 2 hex a 2 hex retreat can end if a retreating unit retreats into city, town, woods, or Bocage. Okay. Yeah, why not just do that? Just do that. That's not a problem. Oh, but you have your friend right here. Shit, you really can't do that because he is disrupted. Shit. I want to retreat, man. What, can I go into a zone of control? Hold on. The 1 hex retreat is not really doing it right now. Retreat. 1 hex retreat's not really an option. Okay. Okay, all you 2 or 4. Okay, if possible, avoid entering a vacant hex in an EZOC. You know what? Let's just do the damn determined defense. Let's just do it. Okay, so let's just do the determined defense. All right, so I got to do a DR. Now, you're in other, which is Bocage, and you do have a +1. So you have a +1. They don't have any, well, they did have armor on you. So the armor and the TQ, much like the last attack, cancel each other out. Lead unit has to be him. TQ, he has that, +1. But the... Yeah, armor comparison, so those cancel each other out. No defensive support. Do they have defensive support? No, he's just outside of the naval battery. Isn't that some shit? All right, so it cancels out. Do a straight up determined defense roll. Let's go see what we get. He gets a 5 and it's going to be canceled, but he's going to take a hit. Okay. Much like that other guy. Wait a minute, can you do a determined defense if you're scattered? Hold on, I don't even know the answer to that. Hold on, man. Can you do determined defense if you're scattered? That may be canceled. That just popped into my head. Ugh. Scattered. Okay, scattered effects. It's 20.2.3. May not move or attack. May not receive replacements, may not build IPs, cannot form a ZOC bond. It doesn't say anything about determined defense. Wait a minute. A scatter unit retains its full defense strength and may do a determined defense. Okay. A scattered unit that retreats is marked. Okay, all right. It keeps it scattered, but retains its scatter and is marked with a disruption. So, okay, so he can do a determined defense, and it's a 5. The retreat is canceled, and he flips. That's what he's going to do. Okay, I don't know if it was worth it, but it may be good to have kept that position. All right, so that was something else. We figured it all out. And this dude is going to keep his scattered, and he's also going to get, he doesn't get a disruption. He doesn't get a disruption because he, or does he get a disruption? No, he doesn't. He doesn't get a disruption because he didn't retreat. God damn it, man! It's so hard to figure out these all this chrome, kid. Hold on. I don't think you get a disruption. A scatter, okay, a use scatter to indicate a scattered airborne unit. These means retains its full defense. Scatter unit that retreats is marked with this. All right, so he did not retreat. He's not getting a disruption. He keeps his scattered, and that's the end of it because he's not retreating. Am I right? Retreat canceled. Well, I'm sure these guys will let me know in the damn thing. So from what I understand, he rolled a 5. He loses a step, but the retreat is canceled. All right, so there's no reason why he should be disrupted. If I'm wrong on that, you guys let me know. So those are your 5 attacks. And the last one I didn't even want to make, but I've got to say, overall, the Americans, the Allies, it was a smashing success for them because those 2 beaches, Omaha beaches, are still held. They're barely holding on, and they knocked a Panzer battalion down, and did the Allies? They lost some steps. They made a couple of retreats, but overall, nothing devastating happened to the Allies. They didn't have to give up Omaha Beach. That in itself right there is the key takeaway from these 5 attacks. I'm John. I'm out. We'll get this video finalized, and there you have it, man. There you have it. The Allies pretty much hold strong. They take a licking and keep on ticking. All right, I'm out. Till next time. Bye.